Good question, that. Who am I? Well, let me explain, I guess. First of all, hello to you. How are you doing? Are you alright? Done much? Ate any nice crisps recently? Christ, this is a lot harder than I expected. So, right, I better start with the basics. Welcome to the ConManWho channel. I'm ConMan. Could have guessed that probably. Why ConMan? It's my nickname at work, and that's about it. And ConManWho sounds a bit like Catmandu, which is pretty cool. Basically, I want to tell you a little bit about myself, just so you get a flavour about me and what kind of content I want to churn out on this channel in the bleak days to come. So, I'm 21, just got a degree in English and Media Studies. I'm going to be training to be a school teacher, and I've always been interested in making videos of some kind. I'm inspired by OSW Review a lot because of how cool it is to listen to people discuss things you like. They talk about pro wrestling, and I'm even in an episode. That's me there. Fucking get in, son. And I also really like battle rap for some reason, which I might try and put into words one day. Yep, there's me again. Look. Yeah. I actually used to be a YouTuber when I was about 14. I went by the name Powerhouse Chipmunk 23, and that's a pretty stupid fucking name. It's where PC23 Productions comes from though. I used to do little vlogs about random shite and would talk about upcoming Doctor Who DVD releases, among other bits and bobs, and to be honest, I loved it. But when I got found out at school, as you do, got the living piss ripped out of me, and things got that bad for me that I deleted pretty much everything and suffered a complete mental collapse of confidence and sociability. Yeah, YouTubing wasn't really as cool back in 2009, especially in an all-boys school. Nonetheless, I learned a lot of life lessons from it, and still to this day I've wanted to make some kind of content. But a YouTuber needs a specialist subject, don't they? Something that people want to see? Well, my thing was always Doctor Who because it's always been my biggest interest. How about a brief history of me as a Whovian? Well, my very first Doctor Who related memory was my mum shouting up the stairs at me saying, "Doctor Who is coming back on!" She was talking about the show being revived, so this was probably in 2004. I was 8 or 9 years old at the time, and I didn't know how to take the news. The one feeling I did have was curiosity. Of course, I'd heard of Doctor Who. It was just one of those massive cult icons that was integrated into pretty much everyone. But to tell you the truth, I knew next to nothing about it. When the show came back with Christopher Eccleston at the helm, I had no idea who the Doctor was, about what the TARDIS was, about Gallifrey, about the Daleks, about any of the show's history whatsoever. But shitting hell was I curious. I remember watching most of Series 1 and really rather liking it. I might have missed a couple of episodes though. Like, I don't remember seeing The Unquiet Dead until later. I might not have watched Dalek when it was broadcast, but basically I caught most of Series 1. Then, at the end of the big finale, The Parting of the Ways, something happened. The Doctor just happened to change into someone else, and I thought to myself, hang on, isn't that the little one from Top Gear? Now, come on, I wasn't even 10 years old at this point, so my view on the world and my internal knowledge about television wasn't particularly great. But again, I was curious and found out about regeneration and so on. I watched all of Series 2, apart from Doomsday, which I missed, and I really liked it. But again, my knowledge of Doctor Who was self-contained within about 24 episodes, which is a grain of sand in the bloody desert that is Doctor Who canon. You know when you hear a film being mentioned and you think you know pretty much everything about it because of what you've heard, but you've never actually seen it? Like, my example's The Godfather. I've still not seen it, but I know pretty much all there is to know about it. Well, Doctor Who was nothing like that, because less than 2 series really doesn't give you anything in relation to the 5+ fucking decades of continuity, especially when one of those series that I've watched has Love and Monsters in it. It was at this point where I discovered the classic Doctor Who website. This thing was an absolute Pandora's box for someone wanting to learn about the classic series. It has a rundown of every Doctor so you can learn more about their personas and their eras. Every single story comes with a still from the story, the best and worst quotes from the story, clips, and so on. This is where the seeds were planted for my interest in Doctor Who lore. I mean, bugger me, because of the layout of each season, I got the ability to name every story in chronological order off the top of my head. Pretty useless, actually, unless you're on Sporkle. The build-up to The Runaway Bride was probably where my interest was growing stronger and stronger. It aired, I loved it, though looking back it's pretty shite. And then Series 3 came along, which I blasted through and loved to bits. I should say at this point that access to classic Doctor Who was difficult. Being 12 years old, I didn't have a job, I rarely got pocket money, and when I did, it was blown on games or sweets or Battles in Time trading cards, which were £1.50 a fucking pack. So getting classic series DVDs was really a struggle until Christmas Day 2007. I was really excited for Voyage of the Damned, mainly because I speculated that the villains of the episode could be the Axons. I hadn't seen the Claws of Axos though. I hadn't seen a full classic series story yet, but I was still excited, I suppose, about the idea of seeing a classic series monster revived in the new series. Anyway, Voyage of the Damned aside, on this Christmas morning I got my first classic series DVD. Ooh, what could it be? Could it be the beginning box set to start me off from the very beginning of the show? Could it be arguably the best classic series story ever, Genesis of the Daleks? Maybe it could be The Three Doctors, a chance to see not one, not two, but two and a bit classic Doctors for the first time. Come on, Conman, please tell us. I can't hold on any longer. Yeah, it was Destiny of the Daleks. Now, I bloody love Destiny of the Daleks through rose-tinted spectacles. Obviously, it's a highly flawed story because of ramming its big, gangrene, ugly fingers into the pie of Dalek canon, basically making the Daleks purely robotic and supporting the claim that Terry Nation may have indeed went mental after Dalek Mania. But it was my first look at the Fourth Doctor, my first look at the classic series serial format, of the lovable cheapness and hammy acting the classic series can provide, and it gave me my first proper look at Davros. I'd heard rumours that Davros was going to return in Series 4, so my next quest was to seek out the Davros stories. I watched them in a very weird order though, because I bought my DVDs from HMV, so it depended on what DVDs they happened to have on the shelf when I made it to the store after losing a quarter of my budget on the bus fare getting there. First was Destiny, then Remembrance, then Resurrection, then Revelation, and finally Genesis. You couldn't really get a more random order. After I'd seen all the Davros stories though, and loved a lot of them, and I still love them all, apart from Resurrection, which I'm really not that keen on, I got the Beneath the Surface box set, featuring two of my all-time favourite stories, Doctor Who and the Silurians and the Sea Devils, as well as the fucking diabolical septic tank, that is Warriors of the Deep. After that box set, viewers, I really can't remember. I just kept watching and buying more and more, discovering more and more, until now where I own every story on DVD, including the recons, and nowadays my attention has turned to Big Finish's library, and I'm just mega excited because I've been collecting Doctor Who related shit since 2007, and I've barely even scratched the surface. You know that quote from The Unicorn and the Wasp?
The thrill is in the chase, never in the capture.
Well, Doctor Who collecting has been an awful lot like that for me. There's just no end to the DVDs, box sets, audio dramas, books, figures, albums, just all sorts of tasty golden fleeces for Whovians to quest over. So that just about covers my Whovian status, just a little history of who I am and where my intrigue into setting up this channel has come from. Now I'll run down the typical vloggy stuff that people want to actually hear about. My favourite colour is red because it is the colour of my bedroom and of 52% of Spider-Man. My favourite food is pizza, though I much prefer sand. My favourite drinks are Iron Brew for Poppy Woppy, Kraken for Drinky Winky, and Monster for Fuely Wooly. My favourite TV show is Flog It, and my favourite film is Citizen Kane because I'm so very, very artsy. Lol, JK, it's actually Vertigo. Fuck, I'm really not ripping Stu Bagful off at all, am I? Anyway, in the words of Johnny from the room, that's me. And hopefully I can churn out some videos and stuff. Peace. Actually, I really can't say peace to end a video. That's pretty common and stereotypical. Some kind of name pun. You've just been conned. Yeah, no. See you later.